The state of Israel was not handed to us on a silver platter. It was established through the loss of much blood. The blood of soldiers who gave their lives so the Jewish nation would have a small place on the face of the earth to call home. The state of Israel does not forget those to whom it owes its being. On Yom Hazikaron, the country gives honor to all soldiers who have fallen in its wars and stands to salute their memory. This day falls during one of the strongest and most intense weeks for the Jewish community and for Israel. Even more so this year, due to the coronavirus, Israelis are in lockdown. The inability to visit the graves of the fallen on Yom Hazikaron is so painful. It's such a fundamental part of life in Israel. Last Tuesday we marked Yom HaShoah. Tonight and tomorrow we mark Yom Hazikaron, followed by Yom Ha'atzmaut, the celebration of the renewal of the Jewish state in the land of Israel. Mishoah Ditkuma, from Holocaust to revival, Mi'afela La'ora, from darkness to light, adding a historically meaningful chapter to our people's story of resilience. Tonight, we remember those who fell in the struggle for the establishment of the State of Israel and its defense. And we remember those who were brutally murdered in terror attacks. On Yom Hazikaron, the entire nation remembers its debt and expresses eternal gratitude to its sons and daughters who gave their lives for the achievement of the country's independence and its continued existence. In Israel, there are two memorial days on which the siren wails. On Yom Hazikaron, to remind us of the cost of having a state of our own, and Yom HaShoah, to remind us the cost of not. Yom Hazikaron night is ushered in with a 1-minute air raid siren, during which the country comes to a complete halt. And the following morning at 11 a.m, there is another siren, this time for 2 minutes. Normally, during these times, those driving on the motorway stop their cars in the middle of the road and stand in remembrance. A whole office would stop working, and a family having dinner will stop eating, in order to spend a minute in respectful silence. For one day a year, Israelis put all differences aside and come together k'ish echad belev echad, as one people with one heart, to pay tribute to those who have fallen. A student in the Kol Torah Yeshiva in Yerushalayim once approached his Rosh Yeshiva, the great Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, and asked him the following question: May I leave my Torah studies in the yeshiva to go and pray at the graves of Tzaddikim in the Galil? Rabbi Auerbach answered, it is better to stay in the yeshiva and study Torah. The student replied, isn't there a time I could go and visit the graves of the Tzaddikim? Rabbi Auerbach answered, in order to pray at the graves of Tzaddikim, one doesn't have to travel up to the north of Israel. When I feel the need to pray at the graves of Tzaddikim, I go to Mount Herzl, to the graves of the soldiers who fell al Kiddush Hashem, for the sanctification of God's name. Since last Yom Hazikaron, the list has sadly grown longer of soldiers and civilians who have given their lives while defending the state of Israel and in acts of terror. May the memories of these Kadoshim be a blessing. Yehi Zichram Baruch.
יישמע כזעקה, כתפילת האדם, וליבי יקרא, מאין יבוא עזרי. עובר אני כעת בנופים חדשים, הצעדים הם נעשים כה איטיים, מה יש שם שאין פה? שאל אותי עובר, מה בלב אתה שומר? קשיש העיר כשעל גבו מונח כל עברו, מביט סביב ומחפש את עולמו, כשההווה כל כך קשה לא אומר דבר, ארים ראשי אל המחר, ארים ראשי, אשא עיניי אל ההרים במרחקים, וקולי יישמע כזעקה, כתפילת האדם, וליבי יקרא, מאין יבוא עזרי.
Rav Yisrael Zev Gusman was one of the great rabbis of Europe of the previous generation. At just age 20, he was appointed a Dayan in the Bet Din of Vilna, but as the Nazis rose to power, he was forced to flee. Eventually, he settled in Israel, where he had a small yeshiva in Rechavia, Yerushalayim. He was relatively unknown, but on Thursday afternoons, the yeshiva would fill to capacity. Rabbis, intellectuals, judges and professors would come to take part in a high-level shiur that gave a taste of the Talmud from pre-war Europe. Among those participants was a professor at the Hebrew University and Fusion Nobel Prize winner, Yisrael Aumann. And then the year was 1982. Once again Israel was at war. Soldiers were mobilized, reserve units activated. Among those called to duty was a reserve soldier, a university student who made his living as a high school teacher, Shlomo Aumann, Professor Yisrael Aumann's son. And on the eve of the 19th of Sivan, in particularly fierce combat, Shlomo fell in battle. Rav Gusman mobilized his yeshiva. All of his students joined him performing the mitzvah of burying the dead. At the cemetery, Rav Gusman was agitated. He surveyed the rows of graves of the young men, soldiers who died defending the land. On the way back from the cemetery, Rav Gusman turned to another passenger in the car and said, "They are all holy, every single one of them." He turned to his driver, "Take me to Professor Aumann's home." The family had just returned from the cemetery, would now begin the week of Shiva for their son, brother, husband and father. Rav Gusman entered and asked to sit next to Professor Aumann, who said to him, "Rabbi, I so appreciate you coming to the cemetery, but now it's time for you to return to the yeshiva." Rav Gusman spoke first in Yiddish and then in Hebrew so that everybody assembled would understand. I am sure you don't know this, but I had a son named Meir. He was a beautiful child. He was taken from my arms and executed. I escaped. I later bartered my child's shoes so he would have food, but I was never able to eat that food. I gave it away to others. My Meir is a Kadosh. He is holy. He and all the 6 million who perished are holy. Rav Gusman then added, I will tell you what is transpiring now in the world of truth in Gan Eden, in heaven. My Meir is welcoming your Shlomo into the Minyan and is saying to him, I died because I am a Jew, but I wasn't able to save anybody else. But you, Shlomo, you died defending the Jewish people and the land of Israel. My Meir is a Kadosh, he is holy. But your Shlomo, he is a Shaliach Tzibor, a cantor in that holy, heavenly Minyan. Rav Gusman continued, I never had the opportunity to sit shiva for my Meir. Let me sit here with you just a little longer. Professor Amram replied, I thought I could never be comforted, but Rabbi, you have comforted me.
Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Uyevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana leYisrael.
A year after the conclusion of Tzuk Eitan, Operation Protective Edge, a moving ceremony took place at the Kotel in the presence of the President, the Defense Minister, the IDF Chief of Staff, and the Chief Rabbis of the State of Israel. 75 Sifrei Torah had been brought from around the world and were dedicated in memory of the soldiers who had given their lives during the fighting. Alongside those 75 newly dedicated scrolls stood one more. It was the Sefer Torah that had been held by Rosh Shlomo Goren, the chief rabbi of the IDF back then, when the Kotel was liberated in 1967. Now, some 50 years later, it returned to once again bear witness to the eternity of the Jewish people. As Israel's president, Reuben said at that ceremony, the Torah marches with the Jewish nation during the highs and the lows, good and bad. The Torah accompanied us in our wanderings, in our exile, and it will accompany us in our redemption. You are listening to the Mishabeh Chalei Tzahal, the prayer for the soldiers of the IDF, as was recited that day by Shai Abramson alongside 76 Sifrei Torah.
את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ייתן
On Yom Hazikaron, we remember the bravery and the courage of our soldiers. We salute their self-sacrifice and feel the pain of the ultimate price they were forced to pay. But despite the pain and the loss, or perhaps because of it, we feel a hope towards the future. The message of this day is not to fall into despair, rather to remember and to reflect and recognize our debt of gratitude to those whose sacrifice made possible the rebirth of our nation in its ancient homeland. The greatest honor we can give to those who died is to continue living. Tonight, we bow our heads honoring their memory and thanking them for their sacrifice. Tomorrow, as Yom Hazikaron abruptly ends and Yom Ha'atzmaut begins, we will hold our heads high and proudly declare in their merit and with thanks to Hashem, Am Yisrael Chai.